Would you believe that all of these backyard decor projects started with Dollar Tree laundry baskets? Over the past few weeks, I've been slowly refreshing our backyard, and instead of spending hundreds of dollars on trendy outdoor decor, I started looking at ordinary Dollar Tree items in a completely different way. Today, I am showing you how I turned plastic laundry baskets into high-end decor, including lanterns, hanging planters, trays, candle holders, plant stands, and more. And honestly, these projects ended up tying our entire backyard refresh together. This backyard has been such a process, from the landscaping and pavers to DIY decor and furniture makeovers, but these little budget-friendly projects made this space feel so much more warmer and intentional without spending a fortune. So I'll share what worked, what didn't, and how I'd improve them if I made them again. So let me show you how the Dollar Tree laundry baskets somehow became designer looking backyard decor. So for this lantern, I'm using a water bottle. I've got 2 Dollar Tree baskets, although I did make this with a larger basket. So if you can find those, go for those because there's so much more bang for your buck. And I've also got this wood edging, which you can get at any hardware store. Like a big roll of it is like $7, so it'll go a long way. Okay, so I started by cleaning up this water bottle. And then I'm just going to cut at the top, just to cut this neck off. I'm just going to clean this up a bit. So I found these at Dollar Tree. They have color lights in them and a regular light. So there's a switch here, so you can switch it back and forth to just a white light or a color changing light, which is so cool. Like if you wanted to use these for parties, these are really good find. So I'm going to take this off, but I might save this for later. This would make a really good handle for an outdoor lantern. Like you just put some floral wire or something and it would make a cute handle. So I mean, I'll probably use it later on for something. And so this, I'm just going to see if I can cut this so that it sits flat at the top. So this is going to be like our lantern base, but I'm going to use this basket to make a lantern design around it. So we're going to do what we did with the other basket and take it apart. And then I'm just going to cut through it. Don't worry, it doesn't need to be perfect. I clean mine up afterwards. Now, if you wanted to use this like as a saucer for underneath of your plants, I'm not sure what else you would use it for, but that's a good idea that I'm going to use that for a saucer for plants. And then we're just going to cut the top piece off because we don't want this piece here. I'm going to do that with this second basket, do the same exact thing. So then I have a huge strip to work with. Okay, now that I have 2 of them ready to go, we're just going to measure it around the bottom. And I want it to be snug. This looks like right there would probably be a great place to cut it. I want to have a different pattern. So I want it to look a little bit different. I don't want it to have this exact basket look. So I'm just going to cut this row here and this row here, leaving the middle row alone. We're going to cut all these little pieces out so that we have a different looking pattern. You don't need it to all be like matchy-matchy. so you can see the pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to continue this all the way across. Okay, and now I'm just going to use the clothespins to kind of put it together so you can see how it's going to look. But I also need to cut a top piece because I know once I get this on there, I don't want this sticking out because it's just going to look like a water jug. So that is where this second piece comes into play. I have this extra, and so this is why if you have like the larger clothing basket, you'll get more bang for your buck. You'll be able to make one of these for $1.50 versus having to buy 2 smaller baskets. So I'm just going to place this on top and determine where we're going to cut this to meet. And so since I wanted that match, we're going to cut, let's see here, because we don't want it to be too tall. I'm actually going to cut out half of this. So it's going to end right there. So once you see this set up like that, I don't want it to be super tall. So we're just going to cut this right here. And then we're going to stick these two together. Put this around the top of this one. So basically like that. And just a quick disclaimer before we start some of the projects, we're definitely a learning process. If I were making the lanterns again, I'd honestly skip the wood trim because it doesn't hold up well outdoors in rain and humidity. And I'd use way more zip ties, skip the glue, and just go for zip ties. I spray painted the bottles with a clear matte spray so it didn't look like plastic. Okay, for this next lantern, I'm going to be doing the same tutorial except we're making a bigger version. So I do have the larger clothing basket. This one is definitely better if you can grab these. They have them white, gray, and black. So depending on what color you wanted to do, I'm actually probably just going to spray paint mine black. So, and to make it bigger, I'm just going to combine 2 water bottles together. Let's just test it out here. It's a little bit bigger than I wanted it to be, but it'll be okay. Cut the bottom of this one. And we're just going to glue them together. Start cutting this basket just like we did the other one. Just going to cut right through. All right, here we go. Again, you can save this for... All right, now that that's done, let's wrap it around. I'm going to right here. So we're just going to attach that, and we're going to make an exact replica of our mini one with the top. So all right, so once again, if I had to do this all over again, I would definitely just use zip ties and skip the glue. As you saw, I was using my hot glue. Zip ties are your best friend for these Dollar Tree baskets. Okay, save this because I've got a fun project to use this for. Then we're going to do the same thing and glue these pieces together.
So here's the big reveal of these modern black lanterns. They look amazing grouped in pairs near seating areas or beside large planters. I repurposed some water jugs and use those solar lights from Dollar Tree that actually you can change them from white to multicolored, which is so fun. As I'm showing you here, I set it on multicolored, and so you can kind of see how fun these would be to have at parties, for any outdoor space, or even indoors. So for this project, I grabbed one of these plain black planters from Dollar Tree, and I decided these would look really cute hanging in our patio area in our backyard. So in order to get them to be hung, I drilled 2 holes in the back. And then I had these hooks. They're in the garden section at Dollar Tree, and it came in a pack of 4. I'm just going to be using the smaller hooks to hook them into place. After I drilled those holes and put these hooks in the back, I was like, you know what, this looks a little boring. And so I had this scrap piece, and I thought, how cute would it be if I attached it, and of course trim this here, but it will actually give it a little bit of a different shape at the bottom. I'm just going to be using my tacky glue to attach it. And so this might get a little messy, and then also it's not going to reach all the way around. So if you want to use like a full piece that wraps all the way around, then I would suggest to get a brand new basket to do that. I'm just using a scrap piece. I'm just going to clip it here because this is where I know it's going to stay in place. And then here we're going to have it so it ends right there. Probably just glue this piece here and then place it flat. So once again, we're going to just put this in place because I already glued that and I don't want a big mess. Goes over the top here, so I'm just going to cut that down because there's a little lip here and it looks like perfect if this just hits right underneath that lip. Let's just hold this part in place with a little bit of hot glue. I did use some hot glue all along the bottom here, and I'm going to go let it dry in the sun, and then after that I'm going to spray paint it black so that this gray part matches the rest. Adding the basket trim to the front of this and then painting it black, it instantly upgraded that plain boring Dollar Tree planter, and filling it with the tropical greenery and bright flowers adds color to our patio, and you can easily change out these faux flowers for every season.
I think one of the biggest things that I've learned with DIYs is that it's usually not about the actual item, it's about how you style it. When you repeat shapes, colors, textures, and finishes throughout a space, inexpensive decor starts looking intentional instead of cheap. And honestly, this is exactly the kind of thing that I teach inside my Budget to Boutique Playbook. It's all about taking inexpensive materials and learning how to style and DIY them in a way that makes your home look high-end. So if you love these budget-friendly transformations, I'll link it for you below.
This recycled container, we're going to cut into this too. All right, here we go. I think I found the sweet spot. Right here on the edge. This. Okay, so this is what we've got. Edges are not perfect here, so I'm gonna go back through and see if I can get them to look a little bit cleaner. This is another lantern where I added wood trim and glue, but once again, you can skip the trim and just use zip ties instead of glue. I decided to take one of those beaded wreaths from Dollar Tree. You could use rope, but I was like, you know what? Let's just try this. I'm gonna go spray paint these to match. And then I actually was just playing around with the little scrap piece to see if you wanted to create a different pattern with yours, to cut out the little grids to make it look not so much like a basket. Like this is probably my favorite if you weren't going to go with the basket. All right, so I'm going to try to simplify this. So this, and for the lid, I ended up drilling a little bit into it. And so you can see this is the one I did with the wood trim. This is no wood trim. This is no wood trim. And here's the one with the wood trim. So I just did two just to compare to see which one looks the best. And honestly, you can't even tell the difference. So if you want to skip the wood trim, skip the wood trim. I'm just gonna slip it on top. Dab back here. These wood look lanterns, they were the first lantern I actually made for our backyard using the laundry basket, and they ended up being one of my favorites. I placed some battery operated candles inside that I can activate with the remote. For this one, I'm using the base that I cut out of the gray basket, and then I've got a little piece, I've already zip tied it together here to create one big edge, and we're gonna hot glue it around to create a tray. Now I did do a similar one, but this one is a little bit smaller with the black base, and I'm just gonna hot glue that together too. All right, for this one, I decided not to use hot glue because I didn't want gobs of glue. Like the inside of this has gobs of glue on it. I mean, it's fine because it's on the inside, but I need to glue this on the outer edge here for what I'm trying to accomplish for this one. So I'm just using tacky glue. We'll see how this turns out. This one, I'd rather have the glue be more on the outside than the inside like I did for this one. So I'll show you what I'm doing with this one in a second. All right, all the glue is on the outside. So I'm just gonna press this into place, and hopefully it gets glued into place. I'm gonna go sit this out in the sun so it has time to dry. I love using trays outside because they instantly make seating areas feel styled. This one cost barely anything because I just used scraps trash to make it, and it works perfectly for candles, plants, or entertaining. For the other ring I made, I grabbed one of these large vases from Dollar Tree, placed it inside with a battery operated candle. Again, I was going to throw those pieces away, and now it's turned into an expensive candle decor that you would see in a boutique store. I have this little piece from the basket, the top of the basket, which I need to glue together. So I've got my finger protectors and hot glue gun ready to go. Put a little bit of hot glue right there. All right, now that that's glued together, I'm going to start zip tying this circular piece because I'm going to be spray painting it. It doesn't even matter what color the zip ties are. So I found this pack at Dollar Tree with a bunch of different sizes and colors. So these are nice because they're thinner, so you don't really see them as much as you would with traditional zip ties. Now that it's attached with all these zip ties, I'm just gonna trim them all. And then also we're gonna trim around this curve here. Careful, make sure that you place the zip tie in a place where you're not gonna cut. Get what I'm saying here? Now I'm going to take it outside and spray paint it. I can't believe how this turned out. I was going to throw away those little rings that came off of the top of the baskets when I cut them apart just for the inside trellis. And now it just totally pulls together our entire seating area by our pool. I wanted that layered designer patio look that you see on Pinterest. So I combined those circular frames and then the greenery to create oversized wall decor. It just makes the entire space feel so cozy. Right, for this, it looks like a mess right now, but I'm using 2 of the handles that I had from the black baskets, the small ones, and I have a piece from the larger basket, and it's actually upside down. So this is how the basket looks in the store, but when I cut it out, I placed it upside down. And then what I'm going to do is cut this top piece off here, so I have something like this left over. And I also have a little flower pot from Dollar Tree. This comes in a pack of 3 for $1.50. I have a styrofoam ball in here, but in replacing the styrofoam ball, if you don't have that, you can use a pool noodle cut down to size. And then I've also got a Dollar Tree solar power light. Again, this one is color and white. It's very fun. And I have this other little scrap piece from the black basket. And then lastly, I've got these chains. Now, I don't remember if these come as is from Dollar Tree or if they're just part of like those metal like hanging flower baskets, but I had this in my craft stash and I'm basically just going to be using 2 of them. So I'm going to be making 2 of these all together. So if you happen to have strands like this, you just need 2 to make 1 each. And then also, if you find these at Dollar Tree, this 120 piece nylon cables or zip ties, this is like awesome. First of all, because it has all these cool colors. These are the colors I'm using in my projects. And it has like these smaller zip ties so they're not like a huge eyesore when you're crafting like I am. And then all these other sizes as well. So you definitely get your bang for your buck if you find these in your store. So I'm going to just cut this one down to size. Save this piece because we can use this for another project. So the first thing that I'm going to do is zip tie these ends together. And actually, I'm going to use a little bit of a bigger one. And next, we're just going to open it up a little bit. And I'm going to place this inside. Actually, I think I need to do it this way. Like that. So now we have a little hammock, right? And I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue in here. I want to make sure that stays put. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to place this inside. Sort of fit it in place here. Okay, so I'm actually going to zip tie this bottom piece into place so it stays put. Tails off real quick. Okay, so now for this part, we're going to start zip tying these corners together. And so I'm going to try to be a little bit strategic about where I fit them into place so that it helps them to stay put. You're done, and again, I placed the zip tie through this other zip tie that was there. And now I'm just going to trim the edges here so you don't see this piece. Oops, there goes one of my zip ties. I'll have to reattach that one. I accidentally cut it. Alright, just don't want any sharp edges here. Okay, so we have one side done, and now we're just going to repeat that on this side. All right, now that that is finished, I'm just going to place my little flower pot inside of it. And I already glued the styrofoam ball in place, so that is not moving anywhere. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on the bottom here to get this, to keep it from like moving around. So now I'm going to attach, I've got the chain attached just with one hook here, so that way I can just hang it up with one hook. And then I'm just going to use zip ties to attach it on the side here. I'm just going to take it out and I'm going to spray paint all of these little areas that are not black so it all matches black. as you can see, I stuck the solar light right inside with some trailing greenery. This is probably my favorite DIY in this video. At night, the solar lights glow and look so pretty next to our outdoor table. I still can't believe that most of these projects started with basic Dollar Tree laundry baskets. And what I love most about these DIYs is that they prove you don't need expensive decor to create a cozy, beautiful outdoor space. A little creativity, some spray paint, and a consistent style can completely transform inexpensive materials into decor that looks so much more high-end. These projects help pull my entire backyard refresh together while staying budget friendly, and honestly, seeing everything styled together at sunset with the candles glowing has made all the DIY chaos worth it. If you try any of these laundry basket DIYs, I'd love to see them.
If you want to see the full backyard transformation, including photos, my outdoor curtain makeover, thrifted finds, DIY cushion covers, and all the upgrades that pull the space together, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video. And let me know in the comments which project was your favorite, because honestly, I can't decide. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next one.